If you're a driver in the UK, listen up, because massive changes are coming to the MOT system this November that could affect when you need to book your test, how much you'll pay, and even whether your car passes or fails. Some of these updates haven't been seen in decades, and if you don't know about them, you could end up with a nasty surprise, a hefty fine, or even points on your license. Stay with me, because I'm breaking down everything you need to know about the biggest MOT shakeup in years. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we cover everything related to driving, cars, and staying legal on the roads. Today, we're diving deep into something that affects millions of drivers across the United Kingdom. The MOT system is getting some serious updates this November 2025, and trust me, these aren't just minor tweaks. We're talking about changes that will impact how often you test your vehicle, new failure points that didn't exist before, digital upgrades to the entire system, and pricing adjustments that might hit your wallet harder than expected. I've spent hours researching these updates, talking to MOT testers, and digging through the official documentation so you don't have to. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's changing, when it's happening, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to prepare. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's get into it. The MO test has been a cornerstone of road safety in the UK since 1960, ensuring that vehicles meet minimum safety and environmental standards. But like everything else, it needs to evolve with the times. The last major overhaul was back in 2018 when diesel particulate filter checks became stricter and the defect categorization system changed. Now, 7 years later, the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, is rolling out another significant update that reflects modern vehicle technology, environmental concerns, and digital infrastructure improvements. Let's start with one of the biggest changes that's got everyone talking. The MOT testing frequency for certain vehicles is being adjusted. Currently, most cars need their first MOT 3 years after registration, then annually after that. This system has been in place for decades, but November 2025 brings a shift. The government is introducing a tiered system based on vehicle type and usage patterns. Electric vehicles and hybrids will now be able to go 4 years before their first MOT instead of 3. This recognizes that EVs generally have fewer mechanical components that can fail and tend to require less frequent maintenance than traditional combustion engine vehicles. However, and this is crucial, high-mileage vehicles will face stricter requirements. If your car exceeds 15,000 miles per year on average, you may be required to have an interim safety check between annual MOTs. This won't be a full MOT, but it will cover critical safety items like brakes, tires, lights, and steering components. The DVSA argues this change will catch dangerous defects earlier on vehicles that experience more wear and tear. Fleet vehicles, taxis, and driving instructors' cars will definitely fall into this category. But private vehicles that rack up serious mileage for work commutes or frequent long-distance travel might also be affected. Now let's talk about the new failure points, because this is where things get really interesting. Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, are becoming standard on modern vehicles. We're talking about lane departure warnings, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, and adaptive cruise control. Until now, these systems haven't been part of the MOT test. That changes in November. Testers will now be required to check that ADAS warning lights function correctly and that there are no permanent fault codes stored in the system. If your car's forward collision warning light is illuminated, or if the lane keeping assist system has logged a critical error, that could be an automatic fail. This is particularly important if you've recently had windscreen work done or bodywork repairs. Many ADAS sensors and cameras need recalibration after these services, and a lot of drivers don't realize this. If your sensors weren't recalibrated properly, you could fail your MOT, even though your brakes, tires, and emissions are perfect. My advice? If you've had any front-end repairs, windscreen replacement, or bumper work in the past year, get those systems checked before your MOT is due. Tire regulations are also getting stricter. We all know the current requirement is a minimum tread depth of 1.6 millimeters across the central three-quarters of the tire. That's not changing, but what is changing is how seriously mismatched tires will be treated. From November onwards, having significantly different tire types or tread patterns on the same axle will result in a major defect and automatic failure. Previously, this might have been noted as an advisory, but now it's a hard fail. The reasoning is sound. Mismatched tires can severely affect handling and braking performance, especially in wet conditions. So if you've been running different brands or tread patterns on your front or rear axle, you'll need to sort that out before test time. Emissions testing is getting an upgrade too, which won't surprise anyone given the push toward cleaner air and net zero targets. The acceptable limits for diesel particulate matter are being reduced by 20%. If you drive a diesel vehicle, especially one from before 2015, this could be a problem. Diesel particulate filters, or DPFs, are designed to trap soot and reduce emissions, but they can become clogged or damaged over time. If someone has removed or tampered with your DPF, that's been an automatic fail for years. But now, even a partially blocked or inefficient DPF might not meet the new standards. Regular motorway runs help keep DPFs clear, so if you only do short city journeys, consider taking your diesel car for a good long drive at higher speeds before the MOT. There are also DPF cleaning services available that can help if you're concerned. Petrol vehicles aren't off the hook either. The permissible carbon monoxide levels are also being tightened, though not as dramatically as the diesel changes. Older petrol cars with worn catalytic converters or lambda sensors might struggle to pass under the new limits. The digital transformation of the MOT system is perhaps the most visible change for drivers. The MOT reminder system is being completely overhauled. Instead of that paper reminder arriving in the post a few weeks before your test is due, everything is going digital. You'll receive email and text message reminders if you've opted in to the DVSA's notification service. Even better, there's a new smartphone app launching alongside these updates that will track your MOT status, send you reminders, and allow you to view your complete MOT history going back years. The app will also show you advisory items from previous tests that haven't been fixed yet, giving you a heads up on potential failure points. For those who prefer paper reminders or don't have email, don't worry. You can still request postal reminders, but you'll need to actively opt in through the government website. This is a complete reversal of the current system where paper is the default. MOT certificates themselves are also going fully digital. You'll still be able to request a paper copy from your test center if you want one for your records, but legally you won't need it anymore. Your MOT status is stored in the government database and can be checked instantly by you, your insurance company, or the police using just your vehicle registration number. This should make life easier when you're selling a car or dealing with insurance queries, because all the information is immediately accessible online. Now let's address the elephant in the room: cost. MOT prices are not set by the government. The maximum fee that can be charged is currently capped at £54.85 for cars, but individual test centres can charge less if they want to compete on price. From November, that maximum fee is increasing to £59.85. That's a fiver more, which might not sound like much, but it's nearly a 10% increase. Most test centers are expected to raise their prices in line with this new cap because their costs are going up too. The new ADAS checks require additional equipment and training, and the more stringent emissions tests take longer to complete. If you need a retest after failing, the rules around that are changing slightly as well. Currently, if you fail and get the problems fixed within 10 working days, you can have a free partial retest covering only the items that failed. That system continues, but the time window is being reduced to 7 working days instead of 10. The idea is to ensure failed vehicles are repaired and retested more quickly rather than continuing to be driven with dangerous defects. If you miss that 7-day window, you'll need to pay for a completely new full MOT test. Here's something that catches a lot of people out, and it's becoming even more important under the new system. Driving without a valid MOT is illegal and can result in a fine of up to £1,000. The only exception is if you're driving directly to a pre-booked MOT appointment or to a garage for repairs that were identified in a failed MOT. Some drivers think they have a grace period after their MOT expires, but that's a myth. The moment your MOT expires, you're breaking the law if you drive the car, unless you're heading straight to the test center. With the new digital system, there's less excuse for forgetting because you'll get multiple reminders. But here's the kicker. Your insurance could also be invalidated if you're driving without a valid MOT. Even if you're involved in an accident that wasn't your fault, your insurance company could refuse to pay out if your MOT had expired. That's a financial disaster waiting to happen. So, what should you be doing right now to prepare for these changes? First, check your current MOT expiry date. You can do this on the government website by entering your registration number. If your MOT is due for renewal in November or December, consider booking it in October before the new rules come into effect. That way, you'll be tested under the current standards and have another year before the stricter requirements apply to you. Second, if you drive a diesel, especially an older one, get your emissions checked before the test. Many garages offer pre-MOT inspections that can identify potential problems. Spending 30 quid on a diagnostic check could save you the hassle and expense of a failed MOT. Third, look at your tires. Not just the tread depth, but whether they match on each axle. If you've got odd tires because you replaced one after a puncture, now's the time to get the matching one sorted. It's going to be a fail point from November onwards. Fourth, if your car has ADAS features, make sure all the warning lights go out when you start the engine and that none of them stay illuminated on the dashboard. If you're not sure which lights relate to ADAS, check your vehicle handbook or ask your local garage. Any permanent warning lights related to safety systems need investigating before your MOT. Fifth, sign up for the DVSA's digital reminder service and download the app when it launches. Having all your vehicle information in one place makes life so much easier, and you'll never miss an MOT deadline again. There's also been some discussion about exempting classic cars from these new rules. Currently, vehicles manufactured before 1960 are MOT exempt, and cars over 40 years old are also exempt as long as they haven't been substantially modified. These exemptions continue under the new system, but there's a growing debate about whether the 40-year rolling exemption should be frozen at a certain date. Some argue that cars from the 1980s, which will soon fall into this category, are driven much more frequently than genuine classics and should still require safety testing. For now, the exemption stands, but it's worth watching if you own a vehicle approaching that 40-year mark. So there you have it, everything you need to know about the big MOT system updates coming this November 2025. To recap the major points, electric and hybrid vehicles get an extra year before their first MOT, but high-mileage vehicles face additional checks. ADAS systems, tire matching, and emission standards are all getting stricter. The whole system is going digital, with apps and electronic reminders. And yes, it's going to cost you about £5 more per test. These changes are ultimately about making our roads safer and cleaner, which benefits everyone. Yes, it might be slightly more inconvenient and expensive, but if it prevents accidents and reduces harmful emissions, that's gotta be worth something. The key is being prepared. Don't wait until the last minute to book your MOT, especially in those first few months after the new rules come in, when test centers will be dealing with the new procedures and equipment. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more drivers who need this information. Drop a comment below if you've got questions about specific aspects of the changes or if you've already experienced the new MOT system. I try to respond to as many comments as possible, and your questions often inspire future video topics. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss upcoming content. I've got videos planned on how to prepare your car for winter, the latest changes to driving laws, and reviews of affordable dash cams that could save you money on insurance. Until next time, drive safely, stay legal, and I'll see you in the next video.